Shakur versus Lopez. The psychological war has begun. Let's first start from Shakur's perspective. I was watching an interview on Shakur, and he stated that the mind is his biggest strength. Now, in any walk of life or in any type of elite sports or in the corporate world or in any world, the mind is important. So for him to rate his mind as his strongest asset, that in itself shows him to be a formidable force. And he's also stated that the Lopez fight, the Teofimo Lopez fight, is the fight that he's been waiting for. So he's been waiting for this moment. So that would indicate to me that he's prepared. He's not taking it lightly. And he feels that no one can beat him. This is a typical mantra of a boxer, but it's an important philosophy of a boxer because it emanates confidence. And for you to have a chance to win, confidence is an essential part of that process. If you're looking at the recipe for success, confidence is part of the ingredients. It's not the only ingredient, but it's definitely an ingredient that's necessary. And he also stated that he wants to fight the Ring Magazine champion, which is Lopez, and therefore there's no cherry picking. And if there's one thing that boxing fans can't stand, it's cherry picking. So that to me shows a character, a bravery, taking a risk. And he states that he wants to put himself in a position where they have no choice but to respect him. I guess they are the boxing fans. The boxing fans, the boxing critics, maybe the whole boxing ecosystem. And there was two ideas here that I thought was really interesting that Shakur spoke about. The first one was that speed means nothing when it's inaccurate. I think that's quite a powerful statement because speed is essential in boxing, but how essential is it if it's inaccurate? And the second one is the old philosophy that he operates on the system of hit and not being hit. So what I get from this is that Shakur is stating all the correct things that you would want to hear from a fighter. Now let's talk about that face-off. Now in a face-off, what's the purpose of a face-off? Well, a face-off is a marketing tool to build the fight, no doubt about that. But also you can get a feeling for the fighter's psychology. So there's the perspective of viewing the fighters, but also there's the fighters getting a feeling for each other. And you can kind of get that feeling for, is your opponent confident? Are they not confident? And you get an understanding of who they are. Now, what's interesting and what transpired in this face-off is that Shakur and Lopez actually have a history. They know each other. And Shakur stated that he had an expectation that they were going to meet. There was no intimidation tactics in this face-off. Both were actually complementary. Lopez's narrative was that, you were a dominant force. I think he said from 114 to 123 to 135, you were top tier. But then he's questioning how will he operate at this weight division, which leads to a good question. Will the weight be significant? Will it help or hinder Shakur? Lopez was also challenged by Shakur on some previous statements that he had made. And what was interesting here, and this is probably an insight into Lopez's psychology, was that he was kind of retracting on the statements. He was being quite passive about his previous statements. And Shakur also questioned the Lomachenko victory. To give some context, Teofimo Lopez gave Lomachenko, the great Lomachenko, his first defeat. It was a great, spectacular performance. But Shakur gave him credit for the victory, but then questioned the nature of the victory. And I feel like out of the two, Shakur spoke with the authority. Lopez was soft-spoken. That might be a reflection of their personalities, their natural personalities. Shakur, I found out, is statistically the best defensive fighter in boxing. And the one thing that Teofimo Lopez did indicate was that he may get a bit dirty. And Shakur's response was that anything dirty will be reciprocated. And I thought that was a good, confident response. And like I said, Lopez's language was quite vague. And maybe the intention here is to keep his cards very close to his chest, or it might be a reflection of his actual personality or language style, etc. But Shakur's perspective, it was more direct. He was confident. And he had this objective, this clear understanding that he wants people to know that he is the best. Lopez's response was more passive. It was more, ambiguous. And maybe I was thinking about this in reflection. Maybe the objective is to cause confusion. Because if you're dealing with a confident character, maybe you want to cause some type of confusion. So either ambiguity is part of his character, or it's part of his strategy, or it's a combination of both. Here's some observations. Not taking ownership of previous comments can be seen as a sign of weakness. So there's different perspectives of that. Is it a sign of weakness, or is it a strategy? Now remember, face-offs are an opportunity for promotion. Think of the AJ Dillian White. That was a great face-off. Think of the Klitschko David Haye. That was an explosive face-off. But they can also be opportunities to score psychological points. When Tyson Fury and Klitschko had a face-off for the first fight, Tyson Fury told a story of them both being in a sauna and how he lasted longer in the sauna, and he indicated very clearly that this illustrates that he is stronger mentally, that he has a stronger heart. So he was trying to plant a psychological seed that he is the stronger man. But let's not forget that winning a face-off does not necessarily mean that you're winning a fight. Think of the Kell Brook Amir Khan face-off. Many people thought Amir Khan won the face-off, but Kell Brook definitely won the fight. But again, you can get a feel. You can get a feel for someone's spirit in a good or negative way. And face-offs can be opportunities for redemption. Think of the Carl Froch Groves 2 face-off. In the first face-off, Groves was very dominant. But in the second face-off, Carl Froch prepared. He appointed a sports psychologist, and he psychologically dominated the second face-off. So from the Carl Froch perspective, the face-off was an opportunity for redemption. And of course, it was a great marketing tool for their fight, which was a massive fight within the British boxing ecosystem. So what I'll say is that this is a great fight potentially, because these are both very credible fighters, both champions, and they both have great CVs. One thing that comes to mind is that styles make fights. I always think of this. George Foreman, the great George Foreman. He beat Frazier, he beat Ken Norton within 2 rounds. But then he lost to Muhammad Ali in 8 rounds, famously in Africa. But then Ali lost to Frazier and Ken Norton. Yes, he beat Frazier twice. Yes, he beat Ken Norton twice, but he also lost to those opponents. So styles make fights. And this is the intrigue about this fight, because they're both high-level fighters, arguably both elite fighters, but how the styles gel. And I have high anticipation for this one, and hopefully it will deliver.